with this man. One of my, I like a lot of people, Kirk Morrison, okay? Mm-hmm. But George Sedano loves Herm Edwards, okay? Coach Herm Edwards, I love him. Now, Coach, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a minute, but I want to thank you for joining us. So let me tell you a quick story about Herm Edwards real quick, okay? So I'm going to say circa like 2014, I'm in Bristol, Connecticut. And back then, I used to fill in for Stephen A. and Skip on First Take, okay? So I would be the debater, okay? And Herm would come on. Coach Edwards would come on all the time on those shows, and he's still on those shows now to this day. And I remember one time I'm doing the show, and in the break, I'm looking at my phone, and Coach goes to me, "What you doing?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm just checking social media, see what people are saying." He's like, "Why are you doing that?" He's like, "Those people just projecting their negativity on you. You're doing a good job. You do you." And I was like, "You know what, Coach? You damn right." And I'll tell you, 11 years later, I am still here, and I took that advice to heart, and I have never worried about internet trolls and any of that stuff because he told me that back in 2014.
Coaches always say nothing good happened after 12 o'clock, right, Coach?
Yeah, 12 o'clock rule, that's right. It still applies, the 12 o'clock rule.
So, Herm, I tell you, when I tell people, whenever I see you, I always tell my wife that story. I told her that story, and I said, "See, honey, I'm still around because that man told me not to worry about my phone too much." But I will say this. I kind of teased this story because you've told me this story before. And you told this story back when I used to do the show with Keyshawn back in the day, too, in the mornings. And it's about, because we were talking about music from the 60s, okay, and the early 70s. Yes. And I want you to tell our audience the first concert you went to with your babysitter.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix. I was in Monterey at the Pop Up at the fairgrounds. And I was about 13 years old or something. She had tickets. And she said, "You want to go to this concert?" And I said, "Sure, I'll go." I didn't know where I was going. I went over there, and we get into the concert, and I see this guy, long hair. And I kind of heard of him, and it was kind of interesting. He's left-handed. And I said, "This guy's playing the guitar." And it was Jimi Hendrix. And then I became the fan. I mean, I would listen to the music, and it was good music. But then when he took the lighter fluid out and put it on the guitar, I said, "I'm all in, man. I'm all in." I'm a Jimmy fan. I became a Jimi Hendrix fan at 13.
And I believe at that concert you once told us that there were some smells going around there, around that arena.
Yeah, that was the story my dad told me when I went to Cal. He said, "You going up there with them people with all that long hair and they smoked them funny cigarettes." Yeah, it was funny cigarettes.
The funny cigarettes. I love it.
The funny cigarettes. That's exactly right.
Now, Coach, through 2 weeks, we were talking about this earlier, okay? It feels like these teams are not only just feeling themselves out, we are still like almost in the preseason, but these games count. Oh. It is some sloppy football being played. Would you agree with that?
No, that's correct. And I've said that this is the problem, with the NFL now. And when most of the veteran guys, and I get it, this is the way of the world, they wear their baseball hats during the preseason. They don't play a lot. Well, when you look at games, you see sloppiness. I mean, there's a couple games where there was 20 penalties. 20 penalties in one game. It's like, come on, guys. And I think what you've seen, though, is offensive coordinators are pretty smart right now. The running back all of a sudden is the guy. I mean, the passing game has shrunk so far because it takes a lot, to go back and throw a football. The patterns and all the things you got to do. And when you don't do that in live situations because you don't play in the preseason, well, you got to do it in the regular season now. So all of a sudden, the running back, if you look at all these games, man, people are running the football and field goal kicker, right? I mean, that's what you're seeing in the NFL. In the first couple of weeks. Now, I think it'll change. It'll change. And defenses, when you don't play with your starters, there's run fits you have to have. You see guys running around blocks. It's sloppy football right now.
But, Coach, I need your help, though, because I've been here before. I've been down this road where I remember in 2007 when I was with the Raiders, remember we drafted Jamarcus Russell. And he was a young player, and we were trying to develop him. But it was a point where we got to that second and third year with him, he was not the best option for us to win football games, regardless of where he was drafted at. And we told the coach he was going to lose the team because you can fool the fans, you can fool everybody else, but you can't fool the players who practice and who watch and say, that's just not our best option. I say that because we're seeing what's going on right now currently with Bryce Young. And I think his teammates realize he's not our best option right now. That's not saying he won't be the option at some point later in his career, but right now he's not playing really good football. How do you keep that locker room intact, Coach? What would you tell the guys in that locker room moving forward until kind of they give some time to Bryce Young to kind of figure it out?
Well, you make the point. I mean, look, I've always said this. Sports is not very difficult, especially sometimes in practice. Right? When you're out there with all the guys and you're just practicing, I always tell coaches, man, just listen to your eyes. Just listen to your eyes. Just watch it. And all of us, see, you can't hide it from the players because they're actually practicing every day. They see it. And so you can't, try to trick them. They know what's going on, and they're watching it all happen. And then the games are kind of like your test, right? And I think if you're Bryce Young, what you got to realize is that he just has to stay confident. Because he's going to get another opportunity. Hey, all you got to do is look at Baker Mayfield, right? There's been a lot of quarterbacks that they've been drafted very high, and here's the difference: when they draft a quarterback high, sometimes you're just drafting a quarterback. Sometimes you're drafting a franchise. Every quarterback that's drafted is not a franchise quarterback. Now that doesn't mean they can't start, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that play in the National Football League. They're not franchise quarterbacks. They're good quarterbacks. You can win with them. Now, whether he becomes a good quarterback or not, time will tell. He will get another bite of the apple, but he just has to learn now. He has to sit there and watch it, and the game will slow down for him. It really will. He has no more pressure on him. It's not on his watch. He can sit there and watch it, and then hopefully, he'll understand that and get another shot down the road.
Herm Edwards joining us here, ESPN NFL analyst, of course, longtime NFL coach with us. Look, I mean, it's not just him, right? Look at Sam Darnold. I mean, look at Geno Smith over the last couple of years. I mean, these are guys that were tossed aside who were high draft picks that are now leading teams and playing well. And it makes me look at the Bryce Young situation, and it makes me feel like that's just a bad organization for doing that to this young man. And I'd like to see him go elsewhere where he could sit and learn, much like the guys we just discussed, and see if he can reach the potential that we thought he had.
And that might happen too. I mean, eventually. I mean, once the season's over with, I mean, they'll all huddle up again. They'll figure out, and he might say, "Look, you guys can let me go down the road, and I'll try to go somewhere else." So his career is not over yet. He'll get another bite of the apple. Now, that second bite, you got to show improvement, right? You got to show improvement, and that's going to be the key for him.
Coach, here in Los Angeles with the Rams, they've lost 2 games to start the season, 0-2, one in overtime, and the other one they get blown out by the upstart Arizona Cardinals. They're down Puka Nacua, they're down Cooper Kupp, 3 offensive linemen, John Johnson starting safeties out. They got guys out all over the place. So clearly they shouldn't show up to play the 49ers on Sunday. That's what people are thinking. But, Coach, that's just not how people are wired, though. What do you tell the team? What is Sean McVay telling his guys? Because people just think oh, my God, the Rams are going to – no. They're professionals. And you understand where your limitations are at. Coach, you've coached a situation where you're down a lot of players. What do you tell the guys who are available to play on Sunday?
Well, I always tell players in the beginning, before the season starts, I said, look, you backup guys, you're one hit away from playing. All of a sudden, you're in the game. And I said, it's important that you understand that. And, you can't let your teammates down. When it's your turn, a lot of guys say they want that turn. Now it's your turn. Well, now you got a chance. We're going to see now. And, and I think it's, and guys, I'm a firm believer in this. All teams have a lot of talented players, right? The NFL is talented players. It's the guys that trust each other. It's the guys that don't want to let the teammates down. That's how you feel the voids of when guys get hurt, right? And so you look at this and you go, okay, well, no one thinks we got a chance now. And so all of a sudden the pressure's off you. The Rams in this division, this NFC West you just mentioned, Arizona is not a bad football team, guys. that Kyler Murray fella, they got some weapons on that team now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's not like, well, and you playing in a division where everybody's competitive. The only team that's undefeated is Geno Smith right now, and we can talk about Geno's career and how he's resurrected that. But there's a lot of football left, man. You just got to go play and try to find a way to win a game. You know, it's not who you play, it's how you play the day you play.
Coach Edwards, the Raiders won a game in Baltimore in stunning fashion.
Yes, they did.
But I look at that, and look, they made big plays to Devontae Adams. They made big plays to Brock Bowers, the rookie tight end. But they couldn't run the ball, and they did a terrible job protecting the passer, too. Like, how sustainable is it for them to have success? Their defense is elite, but that line scares the bejesus out of me.
Yeah, and you know, an AP, he's an old school guy. He knows how important it is to run the ball. They've got to get something going in the run game because eventually that'll get to you. Because, you know, as good as the quarterback played, I mean, it's one of those deals. You're scratching your head. You're going, can he do this every week? And you know that it meant you, and it's like, okay, yeah, he played really good, but there's been some other times we don't play real good. It's almost like Kirk Cousins, right? Mm-hmm. We like that. No, we don't like that this week. So. You know, he's one of those guys, you can't put it all on him. You got to be able to run the football because you got to protect your defense, too. You know, when you can run the ball, you can control the game some. When you can't run the football, guys, you got a problem. You got a major problem because your offensive linemen are in a bad situation because, like you say, they're always dropping back rather than firing out, hitting people. Offensive linemen want to come off the ball and hit people. They want to double people. They want to trap people. They want to knock people around. They don't want to play 7-on-7 all day.
Let me ask you this, Coach Edwards, and Herm Edwards joining us here on 710 ESPN's Kirk Morrison in for Cappy today. When you look at the Chargers, okay, they are 2-0. They beat the Raiders. Now, they have run the football very well. They all of a sudden, they're not putting it all on Herbert, who's a very good quarterback, okay? But they're playing hardball ball, basically. They're going to control the line of scrimmage on both sides. They're going to run the football. J.K. Dobbins looks like a new man in L.A. with them. How do you feel about their prospects?
I like them. I said it when he took the job. I said that quarterback he's smiling now. Now, hopefully he's all right. He got hit an ankle. Hopefully he's going to be able to play. But their whole deal is, get the quarterback under center. Let's run the football. Let's run play action. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's who he is. That's his DNA. He takes pride in it. The players knew when Eckler is a pretty good football player. Even Eckler said it. He says, "Man, I don't fit in this offense. I ain't big enough." He wants a 210, 220-pound back. He got two of them, and he's gonna run right in your face, and he's gonna make you like it. He just said, "We're gonna run it, boys." And you know what? Players gain confidence when they see that. They just do. When you can run the ball, you know how good that feels as a football team. When you see the line of scrimmage changing, and they're tough guys now. They got a tough mentality, and they're 2-0. Now, you're gonna have to make some plays in the passing game, but you control the game when you can run it. And everybody knew he was gonna do that. And everybody said, "Well, now all of a sudden the Chargers sitting 2-0," and everybody's going, really? Yeah, they 2-0. It's kind of interesting.
Why is New Orleans the best team so far over the first 2 weeks?
They scored 91 points. Can you believe that?
Can you believe that?
They scored 91 points. Guys, that's almost – think about this. That's almost 50 points a game.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This is pro football. This league is crazy. And you're talking about – and here's the guy. And who are they doing it with?
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr.
Yeah. Another
one. Had all these high expectations. He kind of fell around. He bounced around, and now he's down there in New Orleans, and they are rolling right now. I'm sitting there watching the game, and I go, can somebody just tackle or just – he's going to get 41 the ball. Every time I see him, he's running in the zone. If I'm the defensive coordinator, I said, hey, guys, don't worry about anybody else. We just got to tackle that guy. Let's just stop 41. They ain't stopped him yet.
Yeah, he's a beast, man, for sure. Herm, how worried should the Niners be about their current situation?
I don't think they should worry a whole lot. I think their situation is interesting in this sense. Without obviously, McCaffrey not being there, he's a little bit of a dual threat. Mason's been good. He can't catch the ball like McCaffrey. He gets you in a lot of second and fours with McCaffrey, right? Because he can catch the ball out of the backfield. It's a bad matchup. But here's what the 49ers get exposed to every once in a while. They're not a catch-up team when they fall behind. They're not built to do that. They're built to control the game. That's the West Coast offense. I'm going to control the game. I'm controlling it with my runners. I'm under center. When they're down some scores, that ain't good, guys. That ain't good. That's not that offense. That's not the West Coast offense. The West Coast offense wants to dictate the terms how the game's going to be played. And when they get behind, now all of a sudden Purdy's got to drop back and sit back there and throw it, right? And look, the shame of it all is I'm sitting there watching this, and they're down. They got them backed up now. Minnesota's backed up on the 1 yard line, on the 2 yard line. And the first thing you tell your defense is this. This is just part of the deal. It's just being smart. Hey, look, guys. Eventually, one of these plays, they're gonna throw a deep ball, and they don't really care if you intercept it because it's better than a punt because we're backed up. So you can't let the deep ball get you. What happened? 97 yards later, the deep ball got him. Yep. And I said, that's the one you can't give up. You don't. This is a defensive player, and as a coach, you tell them, hey man, when they're backed up, boys, they are going to throw a go route. They're going to throw something deep, and they could care less if you intercept it. It's safer than a punt.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're backed up with a punt, and anything can happen. And you just say, hey man, we'll throw deep when you throw interception. We'll tackle the guy, and okay, we're good. And lo and behold, they hit 197 yards. It's like, oh boy. That one broke the back. That broke the back right there.
Go right over your head. Hey, Coach, last one. I want to leave you with this one because I was just telling people, like, anytime, we did a breakdown or our game plan is always the 4-game breakdown. And so I use that right now is because the first 2 weeks of the season, because to your point earlier, too many guys wearing baseball caps and things during the preseason that I don't know who these teams are. And it literally takes 4 games before we're going to see this scoring start to come down a little bit, I think, because teams are going to know now, okay, we know what you run on third down. We know what you like in the red zone now. We know what the adjustments are going to be. So I'm still waiting on these 4 weeks so I can really start to analyze the NFL because in a week-to-week, in the early part, I just don't know yet. I don't have enough yet to really say if a team is good or not.
Correct. And here's another thing I talked about too. I think going forward, now because of the guys not playing in the preseason and games are important, wins are important. If you're an NFC team, the first 2 weeks, you shouldn't play in-conference games. Neither should the AFC.
Oh, I like that.
I do like that.
Because like all of a sudden Baltimore loses to Kansas City. It's a great game to watch, but that could come back to bite them.
Yeah.
Well, they've lost 2 AFC games now. If you think about it, lost 2.
Yeah, but I'm so now they're
0-2 in the conference.
See, and that ain't good.
Yeah.
Because like you said, and no one's ready to play.
Right.
So don't play in your conference. You could, like San Francisco played the Jets. That's fine. That's a good game. But just don't play in your conference. So at least you got 2 weeks to figure this thing out.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. That's a great.
I like that.
You know what? When Roger steps down, Herm, we need you at 345 Park Avenue.
There we go, baby.
Okay? Come on now. I mean, listen, you're riding high right now, okay? Your Cal Bears are 3-0, okay?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, they went to Auburn and won. Like, they're about to go to Florida State and maybe win. Like, I mean, you got to be riding high right now.
That's back in the day when I was there with Chuck Muncie and Vince Ferragamo and Wesley Walker. That was our crew back in the day. All those first-round draft picks we had.
I know you're riding high because of your Cal Bears right now. ACC legend Herm Edwards is joining us here on 710 ESPN. Herm, you are the best, man. Thank you so much for taking time to spend a few moments with us. We always appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon, man. Thanks again.